Ava stood quietly near the corner of the decorated hall, watching her mother laugh with friends as the birthday music played in the background. She always tried to stay out of the way during family events. It was safer that way. Less attention meant fewer chances of being embarrassed by her older brother, Cole. But tonight, Cole was already drunk. His steps were uneven, his voice louder than the music, and his smile had that familiar sharpness. He spotted Ava near the buffet table and grinned like he had found a target. "There she is," he shouted, raising his glass. The quiet failure of the family. The room, filled with more than 40 guests, went strangely still for a moment. Then, small uncomfortable chuckles spread through the crowd. Not because anyone found it funny, but because people had grown used to Cole's cruelty. It had become part of family gatherings like bad lighting or cold food, annoying but ignored. Ava felt her stomach drop. She tried to stay calm, forcing a small smile, hoping he would lose interest. But Cole wasn't done. He stumbled closer, waving his drink around carelessly. "Come on, Ava. Say something. Or is silence the only talent you've got?" A few guests looked away. A few whispered. Most simply watched. Ava's heart raced and her hands trembled. She felt like a child again, small and powerless. She wanted to disappear, but she had nowhere to go. Cole reached her and gave her a rough shove, laughing. He didn't expect how hard she would fall. Ava stumbled backward, her foot hitting the leg of the buffet table. In a split second, she lost her balance and crashed down, her shoulder striking the table leg with a sharp thud. Gasps filled the room, followed by a ripple of awkward laughter. Ava's cheeks burned. Pain shot through her arm. She tasted humiliation like bitterness on her tongue. She wanted to scream, but the words were stuck in her throat. This wasn't an accident. This was years of mockery, disrespect, and dismissal wrapped into one moment. As she lay there for a second, she heard someone whisper, "She's always so dramatic." Another said, "Cole didn't mean it." Of course. They always said that. Ava slowly pushed herself up, trying to maintain dignity even though her entire body trembled. She met her mother's eyes across the room. But her mother looked away, pretending nothing had happened. Her father stood frozen, silent as usual. But someone else wasn't laughing. A young man near the back, someone she didn't recognize at first, stared at the scene with a troubled expression. He wasn't amused. He wasn't pretending. He looked angry. Their eyes met for just a moment before he stepped forward slightly, as if ready to help but unsure if he should. Later, she would learn his name, Eli, a distant cousin visiting for the first time. In that small moment, Ava felt something shift in the room. Cole's laughter suddenly seemed louder, sharper, emptier. And even though Ava didn't know it yet, the moment she got up from the floor was the moment everything in her life began to change. Ava is 27 years old. She works as a graphic designer, spending most of her time in front of a screen, creating things that speak louder than she ever could. She is introverted, gentle, and very careful with her emotions. She has learned to stay quiet, to think before she reacts, and to avoid conflict whenever possible. It isn't because she is weak. It is because life has taught her that speaking up often leads to more pain. Growing up, Ava wasn't always afraid of her brother. When they were children, Cole used to protect her. He would hold her hand when they crossed the street, and stand in front of her when neighborhood kids teased her. She trusted him more than anyone. But something changed when Cole became a teenager. It was like a switch flipped inside him. He became bitter, jealous, and easily angered. He mocked Ava for small things, her quiet voice, her love for drawing, her soft nature. Over time, the teasing grew sharper, more cruel. He pushed her emotionally, then physically. He blamed her for things she didn't do. He made her feel like she was always in the wrong. And their parents let it happen. Whenever Ava cried or tried to explain, her mother would sigh and say, "He's just stressed." When Cole shouted at her during dinner, her father would mumble, "He didn't mean it," without even looking up. It became the family's favorite excuse. He didn't mean it, but he always did. Ava learned early on that if she wanted peace, she had to find it herself. She focused on school, on her drawing, on part-time jobs. She worked harder than anyone else in the house, even as a teenager. At 19, she worked at a cafe in the mornings, took design classes in the afternoon, and tutored kids in the evening. She saved every possible rupee, every dollar she could earn. Not because she had big dreams, but because she knew she would need money to survive on her own someday. Her family never noticed how exhausted she was. They never praised her. They never asked if she was okay. They were too busy dealing with Cole, his temper, his mistakes, his endless drama. Her mother especially seemed to revolve her world around him. If Cole failed an exam, she cried. If Ava won an art award, her mother barely looked up from the dishes. When Cole lost a job due to his own behavior, her mother comforted him. When Ava got her first full-time design job, her mother simply said, "Good. Now you can help with bills." The favoritism was not loud. It was slow, quiet, and constant. A small shift in tone here. A softer voice for Cole. A harder one for Ava. A father who stayed silent through everything, pretending not to see the imbalance right in front of him. Ava learned to swallow her feelings. She learned to smile even when she felt invisible. She learned to forgive her family over and over, even when forgiveness felt like another wound. And she learned to stand on her own feet, because no one else was going to hold her up. By the time Ava reached her 20s, she had become a master at hiding her hurt. She poured everything into her work. Design became her escape. Colors and shapes were easier to understand than people. At work, she was respected and quiet but talented. At home, she was the girl who stayed in the background. Recently, Ava's life had been shifting again. She had been thinking about moving out. She could finally afford a small place, even if it wasn't perfect. She had also ended a long and draining relationship, a breakup that left her feeling hollow but strangely relieved. She had been giving too much of herself to a man who gave very little in return. The emotional load had become too heavy, and she walked away before she lost herself completely. Now Ava lived day by day. Work, home, sleep. Repeat. She didn't ask for much. She didn't expect kindness. She didn't expect apologies from her family anymore. All she wanted was respect, a little space to breathe, a little peace to think. But even that was too much to ask in her house. She knew she was close to her breaking point. Every small insult from Cole hit harder now. Every cold look from her mother left a deeper bruise. Every moment of silence from her father felt like another door closing. One more humiliation, just one more. And she knew something inside her would finally snap. And after the birthday party, that moment was coming faster than anyone realized. The morning after the party, Ava woke up with a sore shoulder and a heavy heart. She hoped the embarrassment from last night would fade quickly. She hoped people would forget what happened. But the first thing she saw on her phone crushed that hope. Cole had posted a video of her fall on social media. There she was, stumbling, falling, hitting the table leg, all captured clearly. And under the video, Cole had written, "My clumsy sister man facepalming face with tears of joy." The post already had comments and laughing emojis from family friends. Some said things like, "Classic Ava," or "Poor girl, she always trips." Others tagged each other, sharing the clip like it was a joke. Ava felt her face burn. Her chest tightened. This wasn't just a private humiliation anymore. It was now entertainment for everyone. She went straight to Cole's room. He was sitting on his bed, eating chips like it was just another morning. Ava held up her phone. "Delete it," she said quietly, trying to stay calm. Cole laughed. "Relax, Ava. It's funny. People need something to laugh at." "It's not funny to me," she said, her voice shaking. "You embarrass me in front of everyone. Now you're embarrassing me online too." Cole rolled his eyes and kept scrolling on his phone. "Oh please. You're overreacting. It's harmless. Besides," he smirked, "you gave me good content." Ava felt her anger rising. "It's not content. It's my dignity." He shrugged. "If you had any, you wouldn't have fallen." The words hit her like a slap. Their mother walked into the hallway just then, wiping her hands with a towel. "What's going on now?" Ava turned to her, desperate for support. "Mom, he posted a video of me falling. I want him to delete it." Her mother sighed deeply, already annoyed. "Ava, please. It's just a video. Don't make a big scene. You know how your brother is. Just ignore him." "Ignore him?" Again. "Always." Ava's hands tightened at her sides. Years of staying silent, swallowing pain, pretending everything was fine. All of it suddenly felt too heavy to carry. "No," she said, her voice steadier than before. "You don't get to excuse him this time. He hurt me last night, and now he's humiliating me online. Why is that okay?" Why is he never held responsible? Cole raised his eyebrows in mock surprise. Wow. Look who finally found her voice. Ava turned to him, frustration boiling inside her. You need to take that video down. Or what? Cole asked. Seriously, Ava. You should be grateful I didn't expose everything. Ava froze. Everything? Before she could respond, someone stepped closer from behind. Eli, the distant cousin from last night, had been walking by and heard the last part of the argument. He looked directly at Cole. What do you mean by everything? Eli asked quietly. Cole stiffened for a second, then forced a smirk. Nothing. Just talking. But it wasn't nothing. Ava felt it deep in her chest, a strange, sharp tug of fear and confusion. There was something in Cole's voice she couldn't ignore. Something he didn't want her to know. A secret. A long-hidden one. Ava stared at him, her heartbeat quickening. What are you talking about? She whispered. Cole didn't answer. He just pushed past her and walked away, leaving the words hanging in the air like a dark cloud. Everything. Ava didn't know what it meant yet, but at that moment, she felt it. This was the beginning of something big, something painful, something that had been buried for years. And now, finally, it was starting to come to the surface. Eli reveals he overheard Cole arguing years ago with their parents about something related to Ava's childhood. It happens later that same day. They are sitting outside on the small front porch, the air quiet except for distant traffic. Eli looks unsure at first, as if deciding whether he should speak. Then he finally says, Ava, there's something I didn't tell you. Years ago, when I was about 15, I visited your family for a weekend. One night, I heard Cole yelling at your parents. He was angry, really angry. And your name came up. Ava's heart skips. What did he say? Eli shakes his head slowly. I couldn't hear everything. But he said something like, it wasn't my fault, and your parents kept telling him to calm down. I didn't understand it then. I thought it was just a normal family fight. Ava feels a cold wave rush through her. Do you think it had something to do with me falling last night? I don't know, Eli says. But he sounded guilty. Not angry guilty, scared guilty. Ava swallows hard. Something inside her begins to crack open. Something she never dared to touch before. The possibility that her family has been hiding something big. Something about her. She goes back inside the house and confronts her parents. They are in the dining room, sorting plates and leftover food. Mom, Dad, Ava says, voice steady but tight. I need to ask something. What did Cole mean when he said he didn't expose everything? And what was the fight you all had years ago about me? Her parents freeze. Her mother's hands stiffen around a plate. Her father doesn't look up. After a long silence, her mother forces a smile. Ava, sweetheart, you're overthinking. There's nothing you need to worry about. Her father adds softly, let it go. No, Ava says. I won't let it go. Tell me. Her parents exchange a nervous, fearful look. Their silence feels louder than any words. The tension in the house begins to grow heavier day by day. Cole becomes worse, more irritated, more hostile. When he passes Ava in the hallway, he bumps into her shoulder on purpose. He makes snide comments under his breath. He tries to make her doubt her own memories, saying things like, you always imagine problems, or you love playing the victim. Gaslighting. She knows the word now, and she knows he's doing it. Ava's work starts to suffer too. She shows up late, distracted, unable to focus. Her boss notices the change. Her coworkers whisper. The shame from the social media video still sits heavy on her chest. She feels fragile, as if one more embarrassment will break her completely. One afternoon, Ava steps outside for fresh air. Their elderly neighbor, Mrs. Hargrove, sees her and calls out gently, Ava dear, are you all right? You look troubled. Ava tries to smile. I've fine. Mrs. Hargrove shakes her head. I've lived next door since before you were born. I remember things, and I always wondered when the truth would come out. Ava stops. What truth? The old woman sighs. When you were a baby, something happened. After that, Cole changed. He was never the same boy again. She pauses. He stopped coming out to play. He avoided the other kids. Something scared him, or broke him. Ava's skin prickles. Did my parents ever tell you anything? No. Viv. They buried it deep. Mrs. Hargrove touches Ava's hand. But I could tell. It had something to do with you. Ava's breath catches. The fear inside her turns into determination. That evening, while her parents are downstairs, she searches their room. She checks drawers, shelves, and closets. Then she kneels beside the bed and reaches underneath. Her fingers touch paper. She pulls out an old, folded medical bill. Her name is printed at the top. Ava Parker, age 3. Her heart pounds as she reads the details. Hospital charges, emergency treatment, swelling, bruising, head check, further observation. Her chest tightens. She wasn't supposed to see this. She goes downstairs, holding the paper. Her parents freeze when they see it in her hand. Pure panic in their eyes. Ava, her mother whispers. You shouldn't have. You lied to me, Ava says. Her voice is shaking, but stronger than before. You hid something from me my whole life. What happened to me when I was 3? Her father steps back. Her mother looks pale. They have no more excuses, no more calm smiles. Cole walks in, sees the paper, and his face twists with anger. Why are you digging into things that don't matter? It matters to me, Ava says firmly. Cole clenches his fists. You're being crazy. This is why nobody tells you anything. His voice grows louder, crueler. He tries to intimidate her, stepping closer. He calls her dramatic, ungrateful, stupid. He blames her for making trouble and destroying the family. His words hit like stones, but Ava doesn't back down this time. The house feels like a cage, but inside Ava, something else is growing, strength. She feels trapped, yes. Hurt, confused, alone. But she is also done. Done being silent. Done being afraid. Done letting them control the story of her life. And she knows this. Whatever the truth is, she is going to find it. No matter how hard her family fights to keep it hidden. A brutal confrontation erupts after Cole destroys Ava's laptop in a rage. It happens on a quiet evening, when the house feels tense and full of unspoken fear. Ava is in her room, trying to work, trying to distract herself from the family secrets that keep pulling at her mind. Suddenly Cole storms in. He is shaking with anger, his face red, his breathing heavy. Stop digging, he snarls. Stop asking questions. You don't need to know anything. Ava stands up from her desk. I'm not stopping. I deserve to know what happened to me. Her calm tone only makes him angrier. Cole grabs her laptop from the table. Cole, don't, she shouts. But he lifts it high, and with one powerful motion, he slams it onto the floor. The screen cracks. The body splits. Bits of plastic scatter across the carpet. Ava stares at it in shock. That laptop held her work, her income, her safety. She feels something inside her break. Not fear this time, but anger. She steps back, trembling. I'm calling the police. Cole laughs loud, mocking, cruel. Go ahead. You won't. You never do anything. He steps closer, reaching for her arm as if to stop her. His eyes look wild. But before he can touch her, Eli appears in the doorway. Enough, Eli says sharply. Cole turns, surprised. Stay out of this. Eli doesn't move. You touch her again, and I'll call the police myself. Cole lunges forward, but Eli grabs him and pushes him back, blocking him from getting near Ava. For the first time, Cole doesn't look powerful. He looks scared, scared of being stopped, scared of losing control. Their mother rushes into the room then. She takes in the broken laptop, the anger, Eli holding Cole back. Her face crumples, and for the first time, she doesn't try to calm things down or defend Cole. She breaks. Tears fall instantly. She drops to her knees, covering her face. Stop, please stop. I can't do this anymore. Ava looks at her, confused. Mom, what are you talking about? Her mother shakes her head, sobbing hard. We should have told you years ago. You deserve to know. It's all my fault, all our fault. Cole freezes. Eli steps back slightly but stays close to Ava. Their mother takes a shaky breath. When you were 3 years old, something happened. Something we hid because we wanted to protect Cole. Ava's stomach twists. What happened? Her mother looks at Cole with heartbreak in her eyes. Cole hurt you. Badly. It was an accident, but it was serious. Ava's breath catches. He hurt me. She nods slowly. He was jealous. You were the new baby, everyone was giving you attention. And Cole was only 7. He had a tantrum. He pushed you. Hard. You hit your head and you almost didn't make it. Ava's hands shake. She can barely process the words. We rushed you to the hospital. Her mother continues, her voice breaking. They asked questions. They suspected violence. They wanted to call child services. They said there could be charges. Ava feels the room spinning. Charges. Against her brother. Her mother looks at her father, who stands silently in the doorway, guilt all over his face. We panicked. We lied. We hid everything. We told the hospital it was an accident. We protected Cole. She wipes her tears. And after that we protected him from everything. Even from you. Ava turns slowly to Cole. He looks different now. Not angry. Not confident. Broken. He sinks onto the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. I didn't mean it, he whispers. I didn't know you could get hurt like that. I was a kid. Ava says nothing. Cole runs his hands through his hair. But after it happened, you kept growing up. You were fine. You were happy. And every time I looked at you, I felt sick, guilty, like I didn't deserve to be your brother. His voice trembles. So I turned it into anger. I blamed you instead of myself. He looks up, eyes full of pain. I hated you because I hated myself. Ava feels the weight of his words, but she also feels something stronger rising inside her. Clarity. I'm not your guilt, she says quietly. I'm not your punching bag. You hurt me when I was 3, and you've been hurting me ever since. But I will not carry this anymore. Cole looks at her with a mixture of shock and regret. Ava steps back, standing taller than she ever has. This is your mistake, she says softly. Not mine. For the first time in her life, she feels free from the chains her family wrapped around her. And she knows this moment changes everything. Ava moves out and cuts contact. She doesn't wait weeks or even days. She packs her things the very next morning. She doesn't argue, she doesn't explain, she simply leaves. She finds a small apartment on the other side of town. A quiet place where no one shouts and no one mocks her for breathing. For the first time in years, she closes a door behind her and feels safe. The silence feels strange, but it also feels like freedom. Ava knows she has to take real steps to protect herself, so she goes to the police station. Her hands shake as she explains everything. The destroyed laptop, Cole grabbing her, the long pattern of intimidation. She expects the officer to brush it off, but he listens carefully and writes a full report. Filing that report feels like taking back a piece of her power. A week later, she receives confirmation that the case is being reviewed. Cole is required to attend anger management classes, and is warned that any further aggression will bring charges. Her parents are also questioned about years of ignoring the signs. For the first time, they have to face the consequences of the choices they made. Ava hears from neighbors that her parents look exhausted and worried. But she does not go back. She does not comfort them. She has spent too many years trying to keep everyone else together, while falling apart herself. Now she finally chooses herself. She starts therapy soon after. At first, she talks in short sentences, unsure how to open up. But as weeks pass, she learns to speak more honestly about the childhood she never understood, the hurt she carried, and the guilt that was never hers. Her therapist tells her something that makes her cry. You were never the problem. You were the child who wasn't protected. Slowly, Ava begins rebuilding her inner world. She starts small, taking walks, cooking for herself, watching movies she loves. She laughs more. She sleeps better. She realizes she can breathe without fear. Through all of this, Eli stays in touch. Not in a pushy way, but in a steady, gentle way. He checks on her, brings her groceries sometimes, helps her set up her new desk, so she can work again. He listens when she talks and stays quiet when she needs silence. He becomes the one person who shows her what support is supposed to feel like. One afternoon, while sitting in her new living room, Ava finally faces the memory of the little girl she once was. The girl who was hurt, blamed, and ignored. For years, Ava carried shame for something she never caused. Now she understands. Her pain was real. Her feelings were valid. Her story mattered. She closes her eyes and lets the truth settle in her heart. She is not broken. She was wounded. And she is healing. She decides she will no longer apologize for being hurt or for wanting peace. She will not excuse anyone's cruelty. She will not shrink herself to make her family comfortable. Ava stands up, feeling stronger than ever. For the first time in her life, she's building a future that belongs only to her. Months later, Ava attends another family gathering. by choice, not obligation. She walks in with confidence, calm and steady. The house feels quieter, the family watching her carefully, humbled. Cole approaches, his voice soft. I'm sorry for everything. Ava listens but doesn't promise forgiveness. She nods once, then turns and leaves. Outside, the cool air touches her face, and a small smile forms. She breathes deeply, feeling free for the first time in years. Her life finally belongs to her. She walks away, strong and calm, carrying a quiet, powerful victory with her. Hi besties. Thanks for watching all the way through. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing stories. See you next time.